Healthy Hats program, the only culturally tailored nutrition and lifestyle program that brings you nutrition education, practical tips, and support from our Black nutritionist and dietitian. So for each week over the last 3 years, we are either joined by a registered nutritionist, a dietitian, or a public health expert who talks about a nutrition topic or a health condition that requires nutrition management or is preventable through a healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, if you'd like to listen to our previous sessions, take a look at the CAN homepage on Facebook and YouTube, and you would have access to all of the resources on various topics over the last 3 years. I'm your host, Dr. Hibbah Rabodiba. I'm a registered nutritionist. I'm also a lecturer in nutrition and public health here in the UK. So what are we going to do today? Every year we celebrate World Breastfeeding Week on the 1st to the 7th of August. Now, today is the 29th of August, but we still want to talk about breastfeeding and infant feeding. It's better late than never, as the saying goes. Okay, it's still August, so it's important we talk about it. I just went to the WHO website briefly before I joined, and yeah, there's just I want to share with everyone. It says that more than 500 million working women are not given essential maternity protections in national laws. Just 20% of countries require employers to provide employees with paid breaks and facilities for breastfeeding or expressing milk. And then, most important for our discussion today, fewer than half of infants under the age of 6 months are exclusively breastfed. Today, I'm joined by 3 other panelists, a registered dietitian, and then 2 other nutritionists. And I like the fact that, we are all Black people, but I brought together people from across the world. So I have someone joining us all the way from South Africa. I have 2 others here in the UK, but one who's lived in Ghana, another person who's lived in Nigeria. So I like them to bring in, all their lived experiences, expertise from all those parts of the world, as well as the experiences from the UK. Okay, so in a few minutes, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves so we can start today's discussion. What was today's topic again? I think I said infant feeding, lived experience versus professional experiences, because I want people to bring in their lived experience as mothers, as grandmothers, and then we bring in the professional experience as well. I liked the topic because before I had children myself, I used to do infant feeding, breastfeeding education in Ghana. This was in 2006, 2007. Now, when I had my own children, and then I had to do breastfeeding, I started getting some challenges, so I was like, okay, it's very easy to tell people, breastfeed for 6 months, this is positioning. So that's why I said professional versus lived experience. Let's talk about it too. Let's be real. And then I address those issues. Is it that easy? What are the challenges? When people say they are not getting a lot of, their breast milk is not enough, is that real? Is that true? Is there any scientific basis to that? These, among others, is what we are going to be talking about. Please feel free to join in the discussion. Yes, the 4 of us are going to be talking, but we want people to share their experience as well. So put up your hand if you have anything to say, and we will invite you to come and say something. We really want today's session to be very interactive. So on this note, I'm going to call on my panelists, starting from Ditope to introduce herself first, and then we go to Kabeerat and then Janet. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hibbah, for the invite, and to CAN for this interesting talk about breastfeeding. We all know that we wouldn't be where we are if it wasn't for that mother's milk. That is very, very important. And like you rightly said, it's always important for us as healthcare workers to support the mothers, even though it doesn't seem easy, but I guess our role is to support them. I am Ditope Rabodiba, as they've already alluded to. I am a registered dietitian, working at the University of Limpopo as a lecturer and in HOD. And in South Africa, Limpopo, the most peaceful province that one can ever come from. Then I am a mother of 4, I'm married, mother of 4 children. The oldest is 24 now, and the youngest is 10, and all of them, they have been exclusively breastfed according to the WHO guidelines. As even the 24-year-old, I applied the exclusive breastfeeding. So that is how much passion and I guess how much experience I have. I can safely say I have 24 years of
experience.
Experience when it comes to breastfeeding matters, including my professional experience. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ditope. HOD, that's new. I didn't know that. So head of department. So we are joined by really big people here today. Thank you for joining us all the way from South Africa. When you say a very peaceful place, I'm always I don't know whether to use the word jealous, because I also come from Ghana. That's a very peaceful country, We need to compete. All right. Thank you, Ditope. Kabeerat, please, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Hibbah. I'm Kabeerat Animashaun. I'm a nutritionist and a public health personnel. What you said earlier, breastfeeding is a very important aspect for a child, and teaching people, telling people to do something is different from you doing it yourself. Because when you get into it and you start doing it, it's a total different thing. You see, the way you tell people is very sweet to tell, but when you are practicing, it's very hard. There are challenges I experienced. My first child is 6 years, and I had to go for exclusive because of the circumstance surrounding her birth. She was born preterm, and in ICU where the child was, they only accepted breast milk. So I had to try to express, and it increased as the weight of the child increased. So it wasn't easy, but we thank God it went well. And it was a good journey anyway.
So now if you have to go back and do nutrition education, you know how to share your own stories as you tell people, you will not say it's easy anymore, I'm sure.
Yes, I did it for the first, and I also did it for the second child too.
Right, okay. All right. Janet, tell us about you.
So I'm Janet Adjei. I'm a nutritionist as well. And I'm currently a research assistant on a nutrition project. I am passionate about nutrition and public health in general. So these kind of things are things I would like to be involved in. I'm very happy I was called up on. I'm also a mother of 2 girls, 2 beautiful daughters, a 5-year-old and a 2.5-year-old. So I can also safely say, at least I have been through it. And like you're all saying, it's very different from when you're saying it in theory, from when you'd have to do it and you have met face to face with the challenges. So it's going to be an interesting chat.
It is. Right. So we're just going to get right into it. I'm going to start with Ditope, because I think amongst all of us, you have the highest number of experience, 24 years of experience, lived experience, 4 children, but coupled with, and the reason why I called upon you is because I know you're doing a PhD in infant feeding. So all of the experience you've had over the 24 years hasn't even been enough. She's still going back to study and become an expert in that topic area. So my first question is, please, what do we mean by optimum feeding, optimum infant feeding?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. And I was, before I can even respond, I got intrigued by Kabeerat when she says she gave birth to a preterm, because that is my area of specialty, of my area of interest for now. And they forced them, or breastfeeding was a norm. I guess the hospital that you were admitted in, it's really on par with what we are trying to push as healthcare workers and also as mothers. So what we mean by optimum nutrition is, firstly, we know what the recommendations from the WHO says, to say each and every child should be exclusively breastfed for 6 months without being given anything, not water, not vitamins, literally nothing. And that is what we are trying by all means to push and also to promote wherever we are as the first step towards optimum nutrition. Because my belief is if we get that right, then we will not have any other challenges, health challenges that are related with inappropriate feeding. So in summary, the summarized form is giving the baby nothing else but the breast, because we know from the science perspective, from practice perspective, from experience perspective, there's nothing that can supersede the breast mother's own milk or the breast milk. It is used as the golden standard. Whatever you design around infant feeding, you always refer to this mysterious human milk, because I'm saying it's mysterious because you get almost everything out of it, be it even hormones, be it the vitamins, be it anything that your child requires, you get it from the breast milk. Thank you.
Thank you. Janet, let me come to you. Would you say you practiced optimum feeding with your 2 children based on what Ditope has said about optimum feeding? Would you describe your own breastfeeding, infant feeding as optimum?
Yes, I would. Yes, because for the first 6 months of both of my children's lives, I give them just breast milk, nothing else, no water, no food, nothing else. And their feeding was as and when they wanted it. So on demand. So it was hard work, but it was a personal choice, because first of all the benefits we are talking about, or we would be talking about, I know that's the best for them. And one thing I said, I told myself as well was, if we drink cow's milk as adults, and when the cow has children, it has their calves, they don't give, it's their milk they drink. You get me? Even in the animal kingdom, usually those who are mammals, if it's a goat, usually a goat will have a goat's milk. I think there's a reason why it's like that. And scientifically as well, with all the benefits, I made a point to do that. So I would say yes, I did that.
Okay.
I'm very proud about it.
Well done. Well done. Did you have any particular challenges?
Yes, I did. With my first child, it was very challenging, because I think I've said this before, she would suck a few times and then fall asleep. And then a few minutes later, she would wake up, do the same thing, fall asleep after a short time. And so I wasn't getting enough rest, because I kept also waking up and having to feed this child. And so I had to devise ways with the help of the nutritionist in the ward. And thankfully, this happened in the hospital. So I was kept for a few more days just to make sure that she's feeding properly, because that was what I opted for. And so what I did was I expressed and then fed the child the milk, my breast milk, with a syringe. And that went well. At least she was able to have it, the quantity I gave her, without falling asleep. I don't know why. Maybe she still thought she was in the tummy. It was really adjusting to having to be out. But it went on for a very short time. And then she was doing the normal and the expected thing. So that was the main challenge. When we came home, there was all the support and everything. But one of the challenges I faced was having to breastfeed at night, because normally our body clocks work in such a way that you feel sleepy at night. And then your child is hungry, crying, wants breast milk, and nobody else could give them because my children didn't want it from the bottle, especially with the first one. No matter what I did. I remember even on her christening day, I was all dressed up. I'm like, no, I'm not doing this in front of everybody, because I was at the front and I had prepared everything. And she refused to drink from the bottle. She was screaming her head off. So I had to leave and go and breastfeed her. So even though I had some express breast milk, nobody else could feed her because she wouldn't take it. So I had to do it at night as well. And sometimes I couldn't sit up to do it. So I laid down. I know it's not the best position, but then it affected me. I developed back pain. So I'll say it's one of the very big challenges, because you want to feed your child. You're tired. You can't sit up. And I think, or I believe some other women would have faced the same thing. I just had to do what I had to do for me to be comfortable, for her to also be fed. So it's one of the challenges that I had
faced. Thank you. Kabeerat, before I come to you, let me go back to Ditope, because I want her professional inputs on what Janet said. The child who always wanted to sleep, is that normal? Is that something you see, in practice? This is a newborn baby who, so Janet, did you feel like your baby hadn't eaten enough? Or is it that she would eat a bit and then, because I remember you've mentioned this before on one of our sessions, Ditope, what are your thoughts on that? Is it normal? Number one, let me add a second question to it, also based on what Janet said. And feeding with a syringe, what's that about? Why would babies want to be fed on a syringe, with a syringe, rather than taking it from the breast? Is it that Janet just assuming that the baby will not take it from the breast? Any professional thoughts on that?
Yeah, thank you so much for that. I was also
you were wondering,
amazed, but yes, but it's okay. The baby feeling sleepy. We have had mothers who will say, a baby feels sleepy, although at times mothers will be saying this child is not getting enough because it's always feeling sleepy. The challenge is we don't have, from scientific perspective, we don't have measurements to say, when do we say a child is feeling sleepy? How do you measure the amount or the quantity of breast milk that this child is supposed to be getting? So in most cases, we say, put the child on the breast, let the child suckle, however much that the child is receiving, it is adequate for that particular child, because remember, each and every child is different. So we are not comparing child A to child B. And so therefore, as long as there's nothing that makes you to get worried as a mother to say, this child is forever sleepy, and they're not giving any form of medication, because that we must also take that into consideration, that at times when we are still at hospital level, there may be medications that might affect the child to feel sleepy at all time. But if you are sure that really there's nothing that will make this child to be sleepy, and when the time comes for the child to suckle on the breast, no matter the time, how much the time, because remember, we do not want to time the child. You've been here for 3 minutes, move to the other side. The child, that is the good thing with breastfeeding. Child decides however she wants to do or he wants to do. The same way as you decide however you want to feed, how much you want to eat at this particular time. Do you feel the food or you don't feel the food? So if there were no issues with growth, then I wouldn't get worried. The feeding with syringe, chances are you were at hospital level. At hospital level, they are treating. So I guess there'll be that difference between treating a child with challenges at hospital level. They'll do all that, the best that they can, to give the child. But once the child is at home, it will be an anomaly to say, I'm feeding my child with a syringe. So for me, as long as the child was not having any challenge, you need not worry. But the fact that they gave the syringe feeding, maybe the growth, there was issues, or there were issues with the growth pattern. And this child is still developing. These muscles need to really work hard to suckle the milk from the breast. So if they are weak, there's low muscle tone, chances are the child might not be able to suckle efficiently and effectively from the breast. Other things may also be the positioning. I mean, if I'm not comfortable, I might decide to say, this position is not okay for me. Why do I want to? So there are several factors which I guess a healthcare professional who was next to you at that time, who thankfully supported you throughout the whole process, could have identified for them to come up with that. Yeah, so it should not be used as
replacement.
Lack of a better word, yes, to say, no, this baby is lazy, I'm not going to feed, or this baby is lazy, therefore I'll use an alternative feeding. That should not be the reason. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Ditope. Yes. Kabeerat, you talked about preterm and breastfeeding. We'd like to hear your own experience. Preterm babies, how was it for you? They're not fully up to that age that they're supposed to come out, and then you had to breastfeed. How was it like for you?
Well, it wasn't easy because it wasn't the time, and the baby came 7 months, 2 weeks. So when the baby came, the breast milk wasn't even coming. But with the knowledge of nutrition, the baby is still okay for some hours before you start getting worried. So I wasn't really worried. So because I know being worried will also affect the breast milk. So I wasn't really worried. And with the support, family support and everything, and with the nurses, nutritionists there, they were like, don't bother yourself. The baby is fine. At least you are fine as well, because that's another worry. I'm fine, the baby is fine, and the baby is being taken care of. So I was just told, okay, try it, take enough fluid so that it will help the milk come. So the baby couldn't suck. All what they need was for me to try to express, because assuming the baby was able to suck, the baby will suck something eventually, but it wasn't that way. So I had to start finding a way using what do they call it? Breast expressor.
Okay,
so express, yes.
Yeah.
So express, but it wasn't coming. And it wasn't here. My first baby was back in Nigeria. So we had to look for another way there, and it was already engorged. So the pain was another thing. So my mom had to look for all these cream to help out. Then we started palpating it so that at least something will come out. Eventually it came out, but the pain was so much. The pain was so much, and I was also feeling feverish. Engorgement with mattices. So I was really feeling feverish, and that was another thing. So it later came out, but it was coming out small. So I wasn't also bothered, because I know the baby didn't really need much because of the weight of the baby. It was calculated according to the weight of the baby. So it was little by little, because they started initially with 5 meals, so which was okay for the baby. So as the baby was growing in weight, they keep increasing it. We spent like 2 weeks, because the baby had the baby's weight was even more than that a baby for that month. So because they were like, what were you eating? Even the baby is bigger than a baby of 7 months and all that. Are you sure she's 7 months and all that? I said, well, I was eating different things to help the baby, but I didn't know the baby will come early enough. So after that, it keep increasing, and I'm somebody that doesn't really eat so much. So that was when I started feeling bad because I wasn't getting enough for the baby. And I already made up my mind that I wasn't going to use any formula for the baby. So I started eating and taking, even though I wasn't hungry to eat, I just tried to, so that at least I'll be able to express, because the demand keep increasing as the baby grew, that was growing. So, and I was there, they were even saying, this baby eats a lot and all that. It's like the baby is hungry and all that. So I just kept eating, taking fluid, and back in my country, there's this pap they make for us, so that they say whenever somebody is breastfeeding, it helps because of is liquid and all that. So I kept, and I didn't like it, but I had no choice because it was good and it was made, my mommy made it, so I had to take it. I knew it was hygienic and the way she made it. So I kept taking it, and I was able to express for the baby. So the other thing was, after the baby started sucking herself, I had bruises all over. It was so painful. I had bruises all over, and whenever I want to breastfeed, or whenever I hear the baby cries like this, I start feeling scared, because as she puts her mouth on it like this, I shout. I always shout. So it was really painful, but I had to look for nipple cream to use so that it will help heal it and all that. So there were challenges, and well, we were able to come over it with the help of the medical practitioner in the hospital and family support.
Thank you, Kabeerat. And I'm really happy that I see some of our men here, because breastfeeding is not a joke. When Kabeerat was talking about her own engorgement, I remembered mine as well. And my second baby, I had it, and anytime I had to breastfeed, it was a hassle. You know, the thoughts of having to go through that pain. Ditope, please tell us, what is breast engorgement for people who don't know what this is? And I think Kabeerat also mentioned mastitis. Yeah. So, and what is it? What do we mean by engorgement? And then I'll come into the chat to read some of the comments. And we are happy to hear, as I said, people's experiences, please, including men. Anyone has anything to say on this topic, please put up your hand. What did you see your wife go through? What did you see your sister go through? We want to hear from everybody. Yes, Ditope, please.
Yeah. Before I can respond, luckily I'm one of those who never had any challenges with breastfeeding.
Lucky you.
I guess yes, I'm one of the few from child 1 up
to child 4.
Child number 4.
You did not get breast engorgement. You did not get any of these painful nipples.
Not based on the definition that that the book or the scientific community says. Just that itchiness, feeling to say now it's time for you to go and breastfeed. If I'm at the workplace, then I will express a little bit, and then I'll be okay. And I really never had any challenges. Yeah, thank God. So breast engorgement, it's basically it's caused by an increase in blood flow to the breast. Remember, the milk has to flow through the breast duct, so through the veins. So when it does that, then that overflow because of hormonal responses, that overflow because of the suckling effect on the breast, at times it can cause that an increase in milk production. In most cases, the breast will be so hard, they'll be so tight, they'll be so painful. Exactly the experience that Animashaun was explaining. So the mother will also be feverish. Yes, so that's basically what engorged breast is. Then mastitis will be when that engorgement now complicates. And, those milk ducts that are now swollen, then they develop into some mast, or which later on develop some pus. Then, so that basically says you had engorged breast and nothing was done with it, and therefore it has complicated. So that's in brief, so that our audience can also be able to understand.
So when the
lay terms language of engorged breast. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. So when the breast gets engorged, and this goes to all three of us, so how do you it becomes so hard? What did you do, or what were you advised to do to get it back to normal? Anybody remembers? Jenna, did you experience that at some point? Yeah.
I did with both of my children. Yes, so I realized that it happened a lot to me in the morning. Probably, maybe, I don't know, maybe the milk production was a lot during the night. And so what I did to help myself was I expressed the milk. Sometimes it is too engorged that even when you're wearing even a cotton t-shirt, rubs against your breast, is so sensitive that you feel the pain. So in such cases, I couldn't even use a breast pump. So I would go under the shower and have a warm shower. Let the warm water just pour on the breast, and then there's a let down, so it flows out. And then it flows out so whenever I want to stop, and then the breast softens up a bit. So I know the milk is going down the drain, but for me to feel better, I do that. But days when it's not that bad, I express it and keep it for the baby. Try my luck if they take it.
Thank you, Janet. I have someone who wants to join in. Sekinat, please, can you unmute yourself and speak? Yeah. We can't hear you if you're speaking. So I can see your lips moving, but I can't hear you. No. Okay, now you're back on mute. It has to be from your PC. Not sure why. Okay, we still cannot. Now you're back to mute. Let me see if I can. I'll try one more time, and then. So I'm clicking on. You're still on mute. I don't know if Shekinah can help. Is she still mute? Yes, you're on mute now. Try now. Can you hear her? No, unfortunately. So sorry.
Maybe whilst you're trying to get her to talk. Okay. Based on what Jeanette has just said, so what she has just mentioned are some of the remedy that have been tried and tested and were found to be helpful, cold or warm expressions around the breast, expressing the milk in between the feedings. I think that's what really helped me, because what I'll do is I'll express them, I'll breastfeed. And remember, when you breastfeed, that reflex on the other side says, I also need to let this milk down. So therefore, I'll breastfeed and express on the other side. And one thing which I've experienced with a lot of mothers, it's poor positioning. If the positioning it's really not that good, or it's bad, in most cases, that's the key causal factor of engorged breast milk. Then the other thing that I've heard of it, but I've never seen anybody using it. It's cabbage leaves. Maybe there are people from those that have joined us, or even from the panel, who have used them and they were found to be effective. But when you read literature, they do say it is helpful with some mothers, but I've really never seen anyone using them. Maybe because cabbage it's a vegetable, we need to be eating it.
Right. Yeah. There's a question here. Can I continue with breastfeeding even when I have mastitis? Will this not have a negative effect on my child? Not sure.
I can respond to that.
Yeah.
Yes, I can respond to that. Yes,
Yeah.
you can continue breastfeeding even if you have mastitis, but you need to be on medication because now you are sick. You have a condition that needs to be treated. You don't stop breastfeeding. You can, if it's really painful, you can express the breast milk, because remember, if you don't continuously express the breast milk, the milk flow or the milk supply will get affected. But you need to get medical assistance. Thank you.
Okay. So no matter how the mom is feeling, apart from when you are in, so much pain, then you should go ahead and breastfeed. Even if you're poorly, you're feeling unwell, that really won't affect the breast milk. So the recommendation is
child, yes, and the child will also not be affected. I had not seen the other component that says, will it negatively affect my child? It will not affect your child. Your child is super protected. Thank you.
Now, I think what Sakina wanted to share had to do with her own experience. She says nipple injuries could really be traumatic. I can relate to Kabeerat's experience, yes. Then before then, Flo said something in going the session for me. The syringe feeding is due to only having colostrum, which you cannot catch on the bottle. When the milk is fully developed on day 3, you can express. Do we want to tell our audience what colostrum is for anybody who doesn't know what it is? Janet, Kabeerat?
Yes, so I was going to say that, yes, the colostrum is the first milk that comes after you have your baby. It's usually very yellowish in color, and it's packed with a lot of good things for the baby. And that's why at this hospital, especially, they don't want you to miss out, or the child to miss out on that first milk. So with my case, it was the best solution at the moment. So my child, like I said, will suck for like 2-3 times, which is not very normal. It's not as if they're eating. Like I said, they checked her, everything. She was fine. No health condition. She's willing to eat. So when she latches properly and everything, but then, like you said, maybe her jaws were still developing. So they decided to help in that way. The syringe was, first of all, a sterile small syringe. And then also they used that instead of a spoon, because a spoon is more open and the child was fresh. So they needed to protect contamination and everything, even though we're still in the hospital. So that was what happened. And that's why that was used. I know in Ghana, when years ago, when I was at Kolebu and we used to do breastfeeding education, we told them to use spoons. But I found out that in the UK, they did not encourage the spoon. They would prefer a syringe, just the plastic part of it. But that doesn't go on. If it goes on for like the lady was saying after day 3, and it's something else. So that would be investigated. But at the beginning, the colostrum, the child needed the colostrum. So they needed to find a way of getting the child to have the food. And she liked it in a way. It was just maybe the jaws were still. And after she got a hang of it, she didn't want to stop.
Did she become one of those that after 2 years, they still want to latch onto the breast? They don't want to let go. Right. Sometimes you hear I know my sister will vouch that her son is not getting enough breast milk. We used to have those arguments. She would tell me, I'm the one feeding my baby, and I'm telling you, it is not enough. Have you come across Ditope, people like that who just argue that the breast milk is just not enough for their babies?
All the time.
Is that possible?
All the time.
The child is not getting enough. Is it really possible? Well, let me rephrase that because I know that due to hormonal issues, it could be. Is it possible that a woman would naturally not have enough breast milk? I think that's what I want to say. All things being equal, you're doing the right things. Yeah.
Thanks for bringing in the component of all things being equal, because we have that small, very minute percentage that will, because if they have issues around the head, their pituitary gland are not functioning, because I always say breast milk comes from the brain. So if there's something that can tamper with that, that's the only chance, the only time that you can say you are not producing enough milk. There's no such as not producing enough milk. It's a perception, and also science backs that up, because I don't know in your own countries, in my beautiful country, when when you lift a child, you just lift a child like this and say, this child, it looks like this child is not getting enough. All the subjective ways of assessing whether the child is not getting enough that are scientifically not proven. And of course, unfortunately, they are equally not true. Sometimes the mothers will be saying the child is crying a lot. That has been seen to be one of the reasons why some mothers will not exclusively breastfeed and give something else. It's crying a lot, and just been proven to say, child crying has no relationship with not getting enough milk. The child is not sleeping according to their own rhythm or the rhythm of the mother, then they'll say the child is not getting enough. But we know from the health perspective to say if the child is not getting enough, obviously the growth child should be able to tell us that this child is not growing enough, not the subjective way of using all these things that we see with our own, we measure with our own hands and everything. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, there's a question yeah, go on.
That's a myth. Thank you.
It's a myth. It is a myth. Yeah, it is a myth. All things being equal, if you're doing things right, you should be able to produce enough breast milk for your child. Kabeerat, before I come to you, there's a question in the chat that says, can age affect the amount of breast milk a woman can produce? It shouldn't. It shouldn't. Whether you're in your 40s, your 30s, it shouldn't. We don't have any scientific evidence to say that as you grow older, your breast milk becomes lesser. I hope that answers your question in a short.
Yes, so you are very right. Remember, when we talk about wet nursing, or when we talk about people that can breastfeed your child in your absentia, before we had all these issues that might affect the baby and everything, we had older ladies breastfeeding, the young children. So
grandmothers.
Yes. Breast milk, I guess maybe one message that I want the audience to get from this, if there's only one thing, is to say, remember my teacher, is to say breast milk comes from the brain. It has nothing to do with organs or anything. So
Ditope, you have to explain that a bit further for us to understand. And before you come, I see a hand up. Nusrat, yes, please unmute yourself and then add in your contribution, and then we come back to the panelists. Ask to unmute. Can you unmute? Yes, please, can you go ahead?
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Thanks for giving me the time. The question that I asked about the age, because I was told by I think it was the midwife, when I had my 4th baby. With my first 3, I did exclusive breastfeeding for 6 months. But with the 4th one, nothing. She was just anytime they come and weigh her, she was just losing weight. She was preterm. So they started with infant feeding. They started giving her the formula at intensive care. Before, it was a bit complicated. I was a different hospital, and she was also in a different hospital. So by the time I got to her, they've already started her with the formula. So I told them that with all my children, I do exclusive. So I want to continue. I want to do breastfeeding. So I started, but as time goes on, because of intensive care, they were weighing her every day, and she kept losing weight every day. So they came out that she's not getting enough breast milk from me. So they have to come in with the infant again, the formula again, which I was arguing with them. And then the midwife just said, oh, it might be your age. I don't know whether she was just joking or she just said that. So with that one, I couldn't do my exclusive breastfeeding. They just continued formula, and then she gained weight after giving her the formula. So it came out that it was like they saw that, oh, then that's it. She was not getting enough from the breast milk.
Thanks, Nusrat. Let me have this discussion with my panelists. What do we think? Should first of all, a 20-year-old person, 18-year-old person could have the same problem you had, irrespective of her age. So really, we don't have evidence to show that as you grow older, you have less breast milk. We don't have any scientific evidence on those grounds. And that's why I want Ditope to tell us about what she means by it comes from the brain. Maybe that would throw a bit more light on why you were not breastfeeding properly, or why the breast milk was not coming. That hormone lets down reflex. Are we able to talk about it briefly? Again, let me give another person the chance, just briefly, 1 minute. Anita, yes, can you unmute yourself? If you could please make it really brief for us, and then we come back to our panelist. Did you want to say yes?
Yes, mine's not related to this particular question, but I just want to share sort of my experience can you hear me?
We were hearing you, and then you went back to mute. Okay, yes, you're back.
Sorry about that. Can you hear now?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes.
Yeah, one of the mothers that was sort of relating my personal experience. I thought that she was talking about me for a second. Kabeerat, is that?
Yeah, Kabeerat. Right? Yeah.
So yeah, basically, I also had a preterm, same situation as yours. Born extremely preterm, 27 weeks, and spent quite, about 3 months in intensive care. But I was encouraged to breastfeed by the midwife, and then sorry, not to breastfeed because I couldn't do like skin-to-skin contact initially due to the size of my baby, and then he had to be transferred straight to intensive care. But it was very, very difficult at first. I tried pumping, and like yourself, Kabeerat, I had sores and cracked nipples, and it was just the worst experience, basically. But what I want to encourage other women is, I was advised that I could go for breast milk that women donate in hospital. At first, I was really, like, oh my God, my baby's gonna have somebody else's breast milk. But then it was important for me as well, knowing my child's situation and that he was really preterm, that he had that donated breast milk. I didn't want him to go straight away on formula because they, told me all sorts of different things about, him being at risk of neck and, things that come with like introducing him to formula milk at such a vulnerable time in his life. So then I opted for the breast milk that was donated by the other women, and I'm really grateful that I did that, because then it gave me time and my body time as well while I was pumping in the hospital. So for me, I think that was a great decision, and I'm really grateful for the midwives that advised me to actually go for the donated breast milk. So I just wanted to encourage other women that are sort of in my situation, or who are to do the same. If you get into that situation where you think, oh yeah, it's really good. Yeah, that's my contribution.
Thank you, Anita. Thank you for sharing that, because I wasn't too sure if we had those kind of breast milk banks in the UK. I know certain African countries have it, so it's really good that you're sharing this with us. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. Ditope, do you want to comment on the hormonal reflex to explain why sometimes people might struggle to breastfeed, and why that is sometimes taken as lack of breast milk or mother not having enough milk? What's the meaning when you say it comes from the brain?
Okay, thanks for the question. What I'm basically meaning is the minute the child suckles from the breast, because that is where the reflex is coming from. The messages from the breast to the brain to say, you need to do body, you need to get ready to do something, you need to get ready to produce the milk. The minute the baby suckles from the breast milk, there are messages. I'm going to be as I don't know, as basic as, so that I can also be able to accommodate, mothers that are really not from the scientific community. So the suckling itself, and that is why we always encourage the child to be on the breast, to suckle from the breast. Send messages to what we call the pituitary gland, which will release the hormone, your prolactin, your oxytocin, which will increase, then, propel or activate the production of milk from that part. So it has nothing to do with what's happening,
Your
but
age.
everything to do with the child. Everything has to do with the child being on the breast, you not having any head injury that affected your pituitary gland, and the child being properly positioned to suckle well, and messages coming through and going up and down in the body for that for the body to produce the milk. And the two key hormones there are usually your prolactin and also your oxytocin.
Oxytocin.
Which are also beneficial to the mother, not only to the child, but also to the mother in terms of mother feeling good. That's the reason why at times when you breastfeed, you feel sleepy, you don't know, you're thinking you are tired, you are not tired. It's because of those hormones that are really working on you. Thank you so much.
And just to add to that, when the mother is worried, when the mother is stressed, when the mother is unhappy, it affects that letdown reflex that she was trying, the message that is sent to the brain. And so you probably are stressed or worried that your child is preterm. Unlike Kabeerat, maybe because of the knowledge she already had, she told herself she's not going to get worried about this situation, So she had a preterm child because she was very much informed, she had a positive attitude and so was less worried. She had a lot of support. She talked about her mom being around. A lot of us don't get that support. You're probably by yourself. Your husband, especially those of us in the UK, is working. You probably have other kids. You're thinking about who is taking care of my children. All of these things will impact these hormones that Ditope has talked about. And that is why your breast milk will not flow. It has nothing to do with the age. It just has to do with these messages that goes to your brain. And this is affected by everyday things that goes around us, everything that is going on. You probably have some financial issues, your sister or mom is sick, all of that can impact on the breast milk. So if we make a conscious effort to block those things from our minds and want to have a positive experience, then ideally the breast milk should flow. I want us to talk about something really important before I take the colic. Kabeerat, do you want to tell us about it? What do we mean by that? Yeah. When people say my child has colic, what do they mean?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can. Yes.
Okay. Well, colic is often inconsolable crying of babies in a otherwise healthy and well-fed baby. Some babies, they might get irritated and they start crying. And sometimes you don't even really know what is going on with the baby. For colic, there's no how would I put it? No
scientific evidence.
Significant yes, that really says this is the actual cause for colic. It tends to gradually improve and usually resolve by itself after like maybe 6 to 8 weeks. Sometimes until the baby is like 4 months old. Colic can also be distressing for both mother and also for the baby. And the crying episode often occur mostly late at night, or sometimes late in the afternoon towards the evening, and also can also last for some hours. And this is, it's not really, there's no really well understanding for parents, because parents are always worried, and because people already hear what they say, colic is this, colic is that, we start looking for different medications to use for colic, but there's no medication for colic. because it resolves itself. Yes.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
the way we can also see colic can also be caused by digestive issues associated with the baby's gastrointestinal discomfort. This could be due to immature of the baby, the maturity of the baby not well matured, and is for the baby, because the baby is still growing, it tends to take time for that to mature. So
right.
Yes, it takes time. Then the nervous system also can also cause this for the baby,
Right.
because the baby is still developing and they might have difficulty in self-smoothing, regulating their emotions. So this also is also a part of it. Then also stress for the, stress for the parents also is also an evidence that suggests colic. It might influence the anxiety of the baby, and also because the anxiety of the mother, it influences the baby as well. Then feeding issue also is also an issue for colic. Some cases of colic might be linked to feeding difficulties, such as swallowing air while breastfeeding. This is also a cause.
So that's the one that I think a lot of people associate colic with, when we don't properly burp our yes. I mean, I think until I had my own kids, I didn't understand why that was a big deal. When I was doing the infant feeding education with a senior colleague in Ghana, she would always emphasize on, please make sure you burp the child. You always want to make sure the child learns that right from when you start. And so as much as we don't have a lot of evidence as to the main cause of colic, we do know that it's very much associated with gas. So when infants have gas and they are not burping, right? Ditope, correct me if I'm wrong, so that's another thing I wanted to highlight. Any comment from you on that?
Yeah. Okay, should I go on with the...
Yes, I wanted Ditope to also add a few points to that.
Okay, yes.
So we are running out of time. 1 minute on colic. Thanks, Kabeerat.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. Yes, you are right. But at times with some literature, they usually say it is caused by, like she rightly said, the GIT that is still developing. Remember, when the child is born sterile without anything in the GIT. So the first colonization, that is the first contact with bacteria, good bacteria, of course, it's through birth, and also when you start giving the breast milk that has probiotics, so the in immature gut, that's the combination of the digestion part are mostly the ones that have been shown to be the causal factors of colic. But like you rightly said, it's something that we should not be worried. Don't even think of giving probiotics to treat it, because it won't help. Don't give any form of medication. It's just that, like you said, it's something that is stressing. I wish mothers could just know that, as much as it is very hard and difficult, just hang on, hold on into not giving anything to that child up until usually 3-4 months or 9 weeks. Then the child will definitely be okay. It has nothing to do with witchcraft, or we know as Black, especially that time of the night, we'll be thinking who's outside. It means this, this baby is able to sense. It has nothing to do with that, but everything to do with the immature gut that is trying so hard to digest that which is given. And we have children that that develops that, and some don't. And from the scientific perspective, we do not know why is that happening.
Thank you both. A few questions. Let's see if we can address a few of them before we wrap up. So I know breast milk is the best choice for the baby. However, I would like to know if there's any danger in mixing mixed feeding, breast milk and formula, especially when the mother is HIV negative. So that's when the mother doesn't have HIV. Yeah. This is a case done by some mothers that I still school in and do not want to express milk, but breastfeeding alone after school. I think the question is there any danger to combine doing mixed feeding? Ditope. Oh, Janet. Sorry, Janet. Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
Yes. So it's okay to express breast milk and feed your child. After all, we want the child to have the breast milk, and that's our preferred choice. But that's expressing breast milk and feeding it to your child doesn't come without risk. Risk of contamination is one big thing, because you would have good breast milk, but maybe the storage of it, the utensils, even the equipment, the breast pump and everything you use might not be sterilized properly. So you are introducing some contaminants, and whoever is feeding them, their hygiene, their personal hygiene, their hands and all that, the teeth of the feeding bottle and everything has to be sterilized. So I would say that's what I can think about, the introduction of contaminants. But if the child is breastfeeding directly, there's no need for any feeding bottle or anything. So it's coming right from the breast into the baby's body. Yeah.
I think I'll just take your final words because our time is up all too soon. Should I just go around and ask for your final words? Janet, for you, I would really want you to touch on any support for mothers, people here. What kind of support do you know that is available? Ditope, let me start from you. Just briefly, final message because our time is up.
Okay, yeah, thank you so much. We are not encouraging at any point to mix breast milk with formula at any point. Rather use your own express breast milk, and support has been shown from scientific perspective to be helpful. So all those husbands, all those priests, all those mothers, all those grannies, can we please support mothers to exclusively breastfeed for 6 months and not giving anything? Please do not use us as examples, because we were your guinea pigs, and some people have health challenges because of what was introduced to them at an earlier age. Let's use what is scientifically available and at our disposal. Thank you so much.
Kabeerat, final message, please. You're on mute. Mute.
So mine will be, as much as possible, to have proper hygiene and safe feeding preparation. If you are breastfeeding and expressing, you should make sure it is hygienic, prevent contamination, and ensure the infant's health is safe. That is it, because utensils, bottles, and all that, we have to be very careful, and we have to sterilize properly if we are using that, because some mothers will say they have no choice, they have to express, or if they are using formula, they have to bottle feed and all that. It's just that we have to be very careful and be neat with whatever we are doing for our baby because of the health.
Thank you, Kabeerat. And Janet, finally.
Yes, so there is support out there, especially for those in the UK. I know the hospitals are trying their best. They're doing a lot of work to help support once you choose to go the breastfeeding route. One thing I'll quickly say is, if you want to, it will not be thrown at you. That's what I've noticed here in the UK. It's very different from back home in Africa or in Ghana, where we insist on the breastfeeding. Here, it's like you have the choice. Until you decide to say, oh, I want to breastfeed, you don't get any information or much information or even the support. So please look at your circumstances and choose the best for your child. And once you've chosen that, they give you all the support until mother and child are okay. Even when you come home, there are health visitors who come around. If you have any challenges, you can speak to them. If you go out, in case you have to be out of the house for any reason and you still have to breastfeed, your child needs to feed, there are places where you see a mother and a baby poster or sticker or sign on in some places. Some restaurants, some public places have that. So you can easily go there. Usually you find a chair and baby changing things for you to breastfeed your baby out of privacy. If you don't have that, your baby still needs to eat. Like we need to eat at any time. Just cover up, even if it's in the park, and breastfeed your child. Don't look at anybody else. Do your thing and go on. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you so much, Janet. And finally,
sorry,
to conclude,
excuse me, with what Janet said.
Yes.
With my second baby here, my mother-in-law was around, and she usually laughed at me that there's no way you cannot even bring this thing out to breastfeed your baby when she's crying, because the support is there. Nobody's disturbing you, and nobody's saying you shouldn't do it when you are ready to. Some people will even be looking like at you and attend to this baby, give this baby what the baby needs, even though you have to bring it out. Somebody told me, bring it out. Are you shy of bringing it out? I said, no.
And this is in the UK here.
Yes. Yeah? Are you shy? A white person told me, are you shy of bringing it out? I said, no. So anywhere you want to, like Janet
you
said,
should be able to.
For it. Yes,
thank you. And yes, we didn't touch on the advantages of breastfeeding, but Sakina has kindly shared some of them. It protects against breast cancer. It helps the uterus regain its position in time. It is indeed an endless list of advantages. No, we didn't touch on that, but thank you, Sakina, for sharing that with us. On this note, we've taken more Orlando's time. We're supposed to have ended at 7. Sincere apologies to Orlando, but you would agree with me, we really had an interesting panelist, and there were lots of issues we wanted to talk about. We couldn't touch on everything. I think I'll bring these guys here again in the near future for us to talk about something related to this, maybe not breastfeeding, but as a child, complementary feeding. I think we might have to do that in the near future. Same panelist. So thank you all for the engagement. Thank you so much. It's time for our next session. Please stay on if you can, and then I hope to see you next week for another insightful and engaging session. Thank you, everybody. And thank you, my panelists. Thank you so much. You were all fabulous and fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Habib.
Have you been spotlighted? I think you have, Orlando. Yeah. Are you still still on mute?
Yeah, it said the host has not allowed you to.
Okay, I can hear you now. So over to you. Apologies once again.
It's all good. Thank you, Dr. Hibbah, and thank you to the panel for that amazing seminar talk. Hope everybody thoroughly enjoyed it. People, tune in each and every week. We have a range of different speakers covering various health topics. So please tell a friend to tell a friend and join and tune in, especially if you really enjoy these sessions, okay? So tonight, as promised, we have a leg circuit coming your way. So we're going to work on the legs, the bum, okay? There'll be a little bit of core in there as well, a little bit of carryover, but yeah, it's all about the legs today, all right? So for this session, all you'll need is plenty of space and plenty of water and a good fighting working attitude, all right? So let's get straight into our warm-up. We're going to start with some side steps, and we're going to run for 30 seconds, okay? So let me sort my tunes out. Okay, so we're going to start off with some side steps, okay? Get yourself ready, get yourself focused. Lock in for today's session. It's game time. Let's go on the drop. 3, 2, 1, go. Nice and light. Stretch that leg out. Tap the floor. Three, 2, 1. Let's go. High knees. That's it. Get the knees to waist height. Three, 2, 1. Next one, open gates. Both sides, up and around. 3, 2, 1, and time. Give yourself 10 seconds. Let your body reset. Then we're going straight back into the warm-up. Okay, people, let's go straight back into that warm-up. So next, we've got side steps again. We're going to bring the arm in this time. Okay, so I'm going to go around, boom, above the head. Like so, let's go. 3, 2, 1, let's go. As the body warms up, you can go a little bit faster. Start getting fully into circuit mode. 2, 1, next one, quarter lunges. So we're going to go here, slight bend, or back up. Let's go. Three, 2, 1. Last move. We're going to close the gates down. So we're going from around and in. Let's go. Three, 2, 1, and that's time, people. Okay, take a quick water break, 20 seconds, and then we're going to go into circuit number 1. Well done. Okay, people, join me back in your spaces. Let's get started. Okay, let's get into our circuits right now. All right, so again, leg session, lower body focus session today. We've got 4 moves per round, and each move we're going to work at for 60 seconds. Okay, and remember the scale, so the RPE scale, so the rate, your rate of perceived exertion, with 1 being on the couch chilling watching TV, and 10 the hardest you've ever worked in your life. Today, we're going to keep it around a 6 or a 7, all right? If you can push higher than that, get more to an 8, 9, then do so. Or if you want to scale it back to maybe a 5 or a 4, whichever suits your fitness level, you can take it to that, okay? So, first 2 moves coming your way. We're going to start with the calves, and we're going to get the heart rate up, all right? We're going to start with some burnouts. So what we're going to do, we're going to go on the balls of our feet, like so. So on our tiptoes, legs slightly apart like so, and we're just going to bounce there nice and strong. Okay, really pushing through the toes. But the aim is to try and keep your heels off the ground the whole time if you can. All right, if not, you get a few in and you feel your legs getting tired, and just go to calf raises. So just here. Well, if you feel up to it, then get the calf burnouts going. Okay, from there, we've got side step to high knee. So we're going to go 2 steps here, high knee, 2 steps here, high knee. Okay, so first 2 moves, first move, 60 seconds, burnouts. Second move, side step, high knee, side step, high knee. First 2 moves coming your way, people. Let's get ready to work now, come on. Remember, we're starting with the burnouts. Get yourself ready now, people. Okay, on your tiptoes, on the balls of your feet, get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Burnouts, go. Yeah, nice small bounces. Keep that going, people. Well over halfway now. Keep that going. 20 seconds to go. Keep bouncing, people. Keep bouncing. Seconds. 2, 1, and rest, people. Take 20 seconds to rest. Catch your breath. Shake those legs out. So remember, next we've got side step to high knee. Okay, people, 5 seconds. Lock back in now. Let's go. 3, 2, 1, go. Keep that going, people. Keep that going. Halfway now. Let's go. Work it, work it. Come on. Keep going, people. 10 seconds. 2, 1. Rest right there. Rest right there. 30-second rest. 30-second rest. So listening while you rest. Next 2 moves to finish the round. I'm going to start off with forward lunges. So we're going to be here, lunge down nice and deep. Explode up that lead leg. Once again, shake legs. Come down, explode up this lead leg. So really push through the floor. Boom, and back up. Okay. From there, we've got half squats. Here. Squeeze. 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 Okay. So from lunges, alternate legs, 60 seconds, the half squats. So here. Okay, let's finish the round. Get ready. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Lunges. Let's go. This leg. Ready. Push up this leg. Boom. Boom. Let's go. Halfway, people. Let's go. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, give yourself 20 seconds. Shake those legs off. One more move to go in the round. Remember, we've got half squats next. 10 seconds, get ready. Let's get ready. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Just going halfway, right there. Boom, right there. You back on it. Halfway, people. Here we go. Come on. "15 seconds, people. Come on, keep working now. Last 10. 3, 2, 1, and that's time, people. Well done, very well done. Okay, give yourself 30 seconds to reset, and then we're going to go into circuit number 2. Well done. Okay, people, round 1 done. Round 2 coming your way now. Okay, so again, 60 seconds per move, and we're looking at to work at 6 or a 7 on that scale. Remember that scale. All right, so first move, we've got sumo deadlift. Sumo deadlift, okay. So you might see this in the gym or online or wherever you might have seen it before. The move you do with a barbell, okay, and it hits up to 150 muscles in the body at once. You do with a barbell. All right, so watch this one here. The legs are nice and wide. Okay. We're going to pretend we've got a barbell right there on the floor. Okay, so we're going to grip that barbell, hand around it like so, chest up, chin down. What we're going to do, we're going to step up, and we're going to put our hips through nice and strong. Watch again. We're going to sit down. Here, up, squeeze. Watch from this side. Again, gripping that barbell, like so. Here, squeeze. Squeeze. Okay, from the sumo deadlift, we're going to go into a Romanian deadlift. All right, so we're going to be here. Legs together here. Slight bend in the knees. We're going to drop down. Once we feel the pull here, we're going to dig our heels in. We're going to pull back up and squeeze. Watch again. Drop down. We'll feel it here. Dig your heels in. Bang. And squeeze. Okay, so from sumo deadlift to RDLs. Let's get straight into it, people. Let's go. Start with sumo deadlift. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. You're not going, people. 20 seconds to go. Keep it going. Not going. 10 seconds. Whoa, okay, take a 20-second break. RDL next, get ready. We're going in 3, 2, 1. Let's get it popping. Come on. Back on people. Working the bum, working the hamstrings, lower back. Come on. 20 seconds to go. Here we go. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, you got 30 seconds of rest. Okay, people listening, while you rest, last 2 moves of circuit number 2. So next one, we've got a Zercher squat. Okay, so here's where we're bringing in the core and a little bit of arms as well. All right, so you're going to keep your arms like so, nice and tense like so. And from here, you're going to drop another half squat. Okay, so legs a little bit wider this time. So from here, we're going to squat down, squeeze, squeeze. Okay, we're going to keep here nice and tense. Keep the core nice and tense. From here, like so. Okay, from there, we have reverse lunges. So first round, we did forward lunges. This time, we're going to go in reverse. So we're going to do here, step down, step down, step in, lower the knee to the floor. Okay, so from Zercher squat to reverse lunges. Let's go, people. Get ready. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Zercher squat. Let's go. You go. Halfway, people. 30 seconds done. 30 seconds to go. Come on. Ten seconds. 3, 2, 1. Okay, rest for 20 seconds. And we're going to finish reverse lunges, remember. Last exercise coming your way. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Let's go. Reverse lunges now. Keep that going, people. Yeah. First one, do you think that toe in the ground? Lower the knee right to the floor. Let's go. 20 seconds left. Keep going. Ten seconds. 2, 1, and that's time, people. Well done. Well done. All right, get some corners. 20 seconds, take a water break, and then we will stretch off. Well done, my people. Okay, people, join me back in your spaces. Let's cool down, let's stretch off now. So we're going to start off with slow quarter squats, okay? So we're going to be here, nice and slow, just to there, oh, squeeze, let's go. There, high knees, nice and slow. Okay, now let's open the gates. Now let's close the gates. Okay, next let's get to the hips. Nice big circles. Change direction. Go front to back. Okay, last move now. Legs together. Slight bend in the knees. Try and touch your toes. Let's hold that for 15 seconds. Go nice and slow. People, well done. Big pat on the back for that session. Well done, people. I'm not sure if Shekinah's in the house.
Yes, I am.
Yes, you are.
Amazing, amazing workout. If anyone took part, whether on Zoom, whether YouTube, whether Facebook, please let us know. Comment in whatever comment section in the chat box. Let us know how you found it. It would be great to hear your feedback from the session. It'll help us moving forward as well. And Orlando, how did you find that?
Good, really good session today. Tough. I've got a basketball game after this, so it's a nice warm up for my legs. So I'm hoping to dunk tonight. Hopefully, we'll see. In my big age, we'll see. But I feel good. I hope everyone enjoyed it, whether you was on Zoom or YouTube or Facebook. But I hope everyone had fun. Enjoyed both the seminar and the physical activity.
Yeah, amazing. And what can we be expecting for next week as well?
Okay, so we've just done our first cycle of body circuits. So next week we're going to go back to core and abs. So core next week.
Amazing, amazing. You guys heard that. So next week, core and abs, get ready, get ready. And also next week, we'll have another nutrition talk before the exercise as well. The topic will be released on our socials, so stay updated. And I know that today's discussion was very interactive. So if you have any questions or anything you want to ask any of the panelists, please feel free to contact us, health@khan.org.uk. We are always willing to hear from you guys. But that is it from now. Orlando, any last words to everyone?
Everybody, thanks for taking part. And again, always thanks for your hard work. And thanks for giving your evening to Khan. So we appreciate all the love and all the support.
We really do. We really do. And that is it for this week. We'll see you next week as well. Take care, everyone. Have a great evening. Bye, everyone.